All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is BlackHawk Women in Tech. I mean, doesn't get much better than that, right? So I'm up here. I'm Jason Caparoso. Probably nobody knows who I am. Probably for good reason, or one or another. I'm actually CTO, co-founder of BlackHawk Data. Thank you everybody for coming today. It's great to see all these great faces out here and everybody supporting, women in tech. So we'll get started with bringing everybody up. It's been a great year. This will be our last one of 24, of course. So our first one that we're bringing up is Janine Delaney from Fortinet. And then we have Brenda Ferrivacci. I'm close, I think, on the name. And Kristen Malik, CDW. Hey. And then, of course, Marianne Pagano. And it's our great panel of people here. And, I'm honored to be able to call Marianne not only my business partner, my friend, and she's done so much here in the world, not just women in tech, but everything that we actually do at BlackHawk. It means a lot for our internal stuff as well. That, we treat everybody as, we want to treat everybody the best that we can. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
And get on with it.
So good morning, everyone. Oh, God, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate your time today. As Jason mentioned, this is our final Women in Tech for 2024. It's been really fun for me to be able to do this and give back. I always tell people there's a lot more runway behind me than there is ahead of me. So this is my chance to give back and coach and hopefully, help someone along in their career. Welcome to those that are on LinkedIn Live. Thank you very much for attending. As always, we really appreciate your time and attention. My hope is always that someone takes something away from what's said here and can use that for their career in the future. So today's discussion is around channeling your success. And the reason I picked that was because, we've done the building your brand, building your network, right? BlackHawk Data was built on my channel background and how I built the business and how I used my friends and my coworkers to get where I am. So we're going to kind of use that a little bit today to kind of coach everybody through it. So it's a great topic for me. We talked about it at CRN West back in May. There's also an article on the May 18th article at CRN that talks a little bit about the journey that I had. So again, thank you guys very much for coming. So right now we're going to go through the panel. For those that don't know me, I'll give you a little bit of background on me. So I have been in the channel for 25 years, give or take. I have been a solutions provider pretty much my entire career. I was an inside sales rep until one day I woke up as a CEO of a tech company. So my journey was very short. So we started the business back in June of 2018 with kind of no idea what we're really doing and what direction we're going in. So for those that are out there that are on the marketing side or the inside sales side, right? I'm not saying CEO has to be in your future. It was not in my trajectory of life, but I sit here today. We're about 50 people strong. And we've already hit quota for the year. That doesn't mean all you guys out there can't sell. So don't take that wrong way. But we've already hit quota for the year, so we're in a great spot. It feels good to stop for a minute and be able to see where you've gotten. And that's, for most of us, that's probably the hardest piece. So I'm going to go to Kristen.
Oh, great. Well, I think, can we just give a round of applause for that? Yeah, incredible. And I'm so proud of you, so proud to be a business partner with you, and I think I would say friend. So it's all about relationships. So good morning and welcome to kicking off Women of the Channel. I think all of us are excited to be here. There's so much happening in the channel, in tech, around the globe, and really domestically too. So anytime we can collaborate and share time, I tell my girls that really time is the currency. And so I'm appreciative to share time with all of you. And I do firmly believe that women belong in all spaces and in all places. And so we're excited to celebrate that today. But I'm here, I represent CDW, and so excited to be partners with everyone on the panel.
Thank you. Thank you, Marianne, for having me. I really appreciate it as well. Love this event. This is awesome, and no better place to be during the holidays than New York City. So welcome, everybody. I'm Brenna Faravashi. I am with TD SYNNEX. I've been with TD SYNNEX for almost 19 years. I started my career right out of college at Clemson University, graduated, and hit the ground running a week later at TD SYNNEX. So I'm excited to be here, and again, thank you.
Thank you. I'm Janine Delaney. I've been with Fortinet for 5.5 years as a regional sales director, and I basically spent my entire career in this channel, this IT channel that we call it. I spent the first 19 years at 2 different resellers, partners, and I would love to give them a plug because they are both woman-owned and family-owned companies, Conres and Ergonomic Group here in the Northeast, and had a wonderful 19-year span there. And then I got the bug and thought, let me go and see what it's like to work for a manufacturer. So I did that and worked for a couple different manufacturers, found myself here at Fortinet. And so I always joke and say I'm like the poster child of the channel, right? The only stop I haven't made is distribution, but maybe there's still time for me, so. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the channel, because I know people hear us say the channel all the time. You have the channel. We're here for the channel company, right? We look at the channel, and obviously I picked a channel panel, right? I picked manufacturer, distributor, and then business partner, right? Because I think what I want on the solution provider side is for people to understand that we are competitors on the stage, but we're also business partners and friends, and there's a way to kind of do it all together. And even on the manufacturer side, right, there's a lot of competitors in the room, right? Just being able to support each other through that. Let's talk a little bit about how we extend and help each other through the channel. I mean, obviously everybody up here is up here for a reason, right? They were part of my journey from the beginning, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But let's talk a little bit about the channel, what it means to us, and how we use the channel to help each other, and why we exist at all. If anyone wants to take that first, Jeannie?
Sure. So, I mean, to me, the channel is really an ecosystem. None of our companies and none of us individually could do what we do and be successful and provide that great customer experience for our clients without each other. We all depend on one another, we add value for each other, and it's just something where we leverage the strength of each other to really go and do the best that we can for all of our customers out there.
Yeah, for me, the channel really comes down to 2 things: innovation and collaboration. We have a new president at TD SYNNEX, Raina Thompson. First time we've had a female president, so we're really excited about that. She's got 3 mindsets for our company right now: dare to go, win together, and get stuff done. And when I think about those 3 mindsets, it really comes down to innovation and collaboration. And that's really what the channel means to me, because A, we're bringing new technologies to the channel. It's our job to look at these new opportunities, look at these new technology solutions, bring them out to the partner ecosystem, and then collaborate together to make sure that we make them actionable, right? So that's really what it means to me.
So I would say the channel for me is like the multiplier effect, right? And so if we have our manufacturers, we have distribution, we have resellers, technology, and then of course, as you alluded to, business partners. And it's really creating each step within the supply chain in the channel to have and be able to unlock the most value to our customers, right? That is the ultimate goal. That is the center of the channel. And so when you have innovative ways to deliver tech, you have innovative ways to procure, right? Within the ecosystem, you're unlocking really incredible value. And so, you know, I look at it as a multiplier effect. I think specifically in my role at CDW, I lead our business diversity practice. And so what does that mean? It means that I architect the solutions side by side with our sales teams when our customers in the public and private sector have a diverse owned company aspirational goal or perhaps requirement, or they want to have more local procurement in their supply chain. And so my team will work and vet diverse owned companies. And so, you know, BlackHawk is one of our, you know, very strategic, effective women-owned partners, you know, that we work with to meet end user expectations. But it's not just met on merit of that diverse certification. It's strategic. They're vetted on capability, capacity, and the ability to carry the cost of capital on what we would call perhaps an inflationary economy. And so it's adding layers, but each of them have significant value for end user success.
From a solution provider side, right, I don't know if we don't exist without the channel, right? From a manufacturer perspective, we're selling the manufacturer's solutions, right? So our ability to map with account managers, to work with the marketing teams, to hold events, right? Every part of the manufacturer from a solution provider is critical. We don't exist without them. I can't buy product without the distributor. So all the distributors exist for us to be able to work together with to make sure that the product reaches the end user, right, and their designated time. So it's a big piece of the puzzle, right? As Kristen alluded to, from a business partner perspective, we do a lot of things, right? Chris and I, from a diversity side, right, when they're looking for a diverse partner, right, they look out for their strategic partners like us. When we have reverse opportunity where we have an opportunity, where we're going after a much larger customer, and they may say to me, oh, well, we buy it from CDW today. Then my next call will be to Kristen or Ken or somebody else to say, hey, I have this customer who's looking to do business with us. Who are you using? And we kind of work together like that. It's definitely something different. I think in the solution provider space, it's odd when you work with each other because you are competitors at the end of the day, but we've seen to kind of master the ability to use all parts of the channel to be able to build a business. Right? And I think when you look at that from an end customer perspective, right, because we're all here, right, for the end customer, they're the ones that are buying. I think that relationship, right, that continuity, that seamlessness that we have together is what the end user wants and deserves, right, especially now in a buying cycle the way they have now where they're educated. Right? Let's talk a little bit about how we actually help the end user. Janine.
I think the way that we partner with folks like BlackHawk to help the end user is, there's value that you all provide to us and to the partner to the customer that we just couldn't, right? We can't scale the way you can. And so, when we were looking at partners and you were looking at partnering with us at Fortinet, we saw BlackHawk Data as a company that was, 1, ethical, and 2, trustworthy, and 3, just ready to really invest with us. And that is so important in looking for new partners to come on board. You all rolled up your sleeves with us. You were willing to train your people. You were willing to share in marketing events and really just invest in us. And I think our channel team, I know some of you are in the room, thank you. Our channel team and our Enfield team embraced you, and we're really proud of what you all have built. And we're proud that we got a chance to be part of that with you all. And so what we've built is really an experience for our customers, right? One of the things that you do really well is professional services around our solutions. I mean, we're a global company, but we cannot go out and deliver services to every single end user that we have. We can't scale that way, right? And so by working with folks at BlackHawk and knowing that you're certified and really competent makes us feel confident to bring you, to our end users.
I mean, Brenda, from TD SYNNEX's side, right, if you guys don't deliver the product, watch your orders, make sure things book, right, everything that you guys do actually affects the end user directly. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I would say making sure that product gets where it needs to be is table stakes at this point for distribution. From a TD SYNNEX standpoint, it goes well beyond that, and I think distribution as a whole is evolving to go beyond just the order and the quote. And what I mean by that is there's no solution very little, I would say, solution provider out there that can handle the needs of the end user from A to Z. I mean, really every solution provider out there has a need that you've got to rely on another partner for, whether it be the vendor or distribution or even your peers in the solution provider business. From a TD SYNNEX perspective, we're helping that end user figure out how they maximize that CapEx, OpEx from a financial perspective. That's a big hot topic. Making sure that we can help them manage their capital more efficiently. Also helping them from a logistics standpoint, or even beyond that, training and enablement. Training and enabling our solution providers to bring new technologies to their end customers to maximize the efficiency of their business. We're talking about automation all the time. I mean, that's a huge conversation across all end users and all solution providers. And I would say distribution and TD SYNNEX especially is really trying to maximize that automation and how we can stand behind our solution providers to make it more efficient and more importantly, ensure that their sellers have more time to go out and sell and bring the technology solutions to the end customer.
Let's talk about how business partners and us as solution providers help the end customer on both sides.
Yeah. So I'd say the best way to sum it up for me would be that we bring, aspiration to practice. That's really what we're all kind of striving for, right? What is your customer's aspiration and goal, and what do they want the outcome to be? And then how do you put that into practice seamlessly, on budget, right? And the ability to scale and own the edge and own the infrastructure. There's no doubt the more strategic you are, the more profitable you're going to be, right? And so it's a strategic partnership when we work together. I think very specifically here in New York City, where CDW and BlackHawk have had great success that's been scalable, is being able to meet the demands of today. That's not saying that you withhold having perspective of the future, right? Because it is moving very, very fast. But the demands of today in New York City in public and private sector, do require such sophistication and such intelligence, and there is great value in taking partners along the way, because as my peers said, you can't do it all alone. So to be really candid with what the outcome needs to be really clear on the cost, be really clear on who's involved, you're right, that'll help all of those outcomes become achievable and into that practice where we become more profitable and we're making money. You can't argue with philosophy. You can argue with philosophy, but you can't argue with revenue enabling programs. And having revenue enabling programs with all of us in the channel, right, is what we're here for, right?
So we've talked about building your network, right, building your brand, right? So let's talk a little bit, because we've got a lot of new audience members here. Let's talk a little about building your network. When I look at, again, I use the channel to build my network for 20-something years, never knowing that in 20 years I was going to need the channel to support me, right? It's kind of reversed. You're not really ready for that. And when I look at that and I say to myself, well, how did I actually do that, right? Because one day you have nothing. You're starting from scratch. So you go back to the channel and you say, okay, for 25 years I've helped some people, right? Let me go through my phone and see who I can call. And I think for me, it's been important because I'm living proof that using your channel and using your network works, right? So one of the things I did early on was I joined the CRN community, and that was a channel of women, right? I was looking for women. I was looking for anybody that I can talk to that would listen to me and share some of my concerns, my problems, my hang-ups, whatever you want to call them. So there's definitely things that we can do to build your network and build your brand, right? And for everyone, starting out in their career as well, right? That's really important for you guys to build your brand, right? We talk about authenticity, realness, right? I always feel like I'm the least eloquent speaker on a stage, but I speak from the heart and who I am, right? I kind of can't change that. Now I'm too old. So let's talk a little about industry events and things that maybe some of us do that helps us build our network, and to share that with some of them. I can go back to Janine.
Sure.
Back this way. We're like in a rotation.
So I'm going to say a couple things that maybe are a little bit different. I think when I was younger in this industry, I did not really seek out, outside organizations. I kind of was on that path of work, and anything that happened outside of that, I didn't have time for, right? Which is not a great thing. But I think back then things were different. There wasn't LinkedIn. It wasn't as easy to get involved in things outside. But what I will say about building a network is this industry, this channel, is about 5,000 people moving around to different companies. I mean, it is so small when you really think about it. We all know each other, right? And I've told my teams over the years, never burn a bridge, right? Be genuine, You know, show up, do what you said you were going to do, and you will build a network, and it will be amazing, right? Because of the channel, we interact with a huge number of people. When I was at both of those solutions providers, the number of manufacturers that I worked with was sometimes daunting, right? So you were meeting all of the people in those, and then you work with 3 different distributors sometimes, and you're building that network. And so, you know, I think just by nature of this industry, you're able to build a very wide network. And so when you are ready to make changes and maybe go and look at that next position, you will be amazed at the people you know and the people that want to help you, because you've done the right thing, right? You've cared, you've been genuine, and people honestly want to help each other progress. And over the years, what I have seen is that there's more and more women, right, involved, and we want to help each other. We want to help each other succeed. So I think later in my career, I got a little bit better about joining things like Women in Cybersecurity and Women of the Channel. But I had to be conscious about that and get myself out there and do that. It didn't just come naturally.
Yeah, I love, obviously these events, Women in the Channels, any of the CRN events, Women in Tech events, Women in Cybersecurity is another one, are awesome ways to build your network. But one of the things that I think is, that I am certainly seeing and learning more about, because I am not personally great at this, is the use of social media platforms, right? So we have this whole new group of people coming out of college, or maybe even right out of high school, and joining the channel. And these are people that have been around social media since, gosh, probably elementary school at this point, whereas Facebook just became a thing when I was in college. So I've noticed that a lot of people are really engaging a lot in platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter, which I think is now called X, and all of those platforms, and they're making these connections across the globe, and they're learning, and they're collaborating, and they're attending virtual events, especially since COVID. And I'm really seeing a lot of cool interactions and network building over the internet, which is really awesome to see. And I think you meet a lot of different personalities that way. You get a ton of different perspectives. But I would also say that just even within your company, it's important to build a strong network. I mean, I come from TD SYNNEX. We're a $60 billion global company. And it takes a lot of effort to just build your brand and your network within our own company. And so certainly meeting with my customers and our vendor partners is super important, but I also think it's really important to get the perspectives of the people that you're in the same environment with at your own company as well. So I would say I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. Perhaps if you follow me or not, or you
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to do, how to do what you do, Kristen.
I'm a relentless learner. And I would say I really try to do a concerted effort. I will talk more than just this, but just on the topic, a concerted effort to try to post once a day, right? And don't audit it today, but I think I don't have one yet. I did yesterday. And here, someone told me a while ago that, okay, perhaps buying a house is going to be one of the most biggest investments of your life, perhaps, right? It's going to be, you're going to take a lot of time. It's not going to be this rushed decision. And so would you find a realtor who kind of markets every now and then, it's kind of like, here's the market, or would you maybe perhaps be compelled to work with a realtor that's like every day talking about trends, here's what's going on, kind of here's what's happening in the community, right? You might have more trust with somebody who's perhaps talking more frequent and about trends and on that investment. And so for me, I'm like, I want, people to know that I want to be a trusted leader. I want to be a thoughtful leader. I want to have an impact. And so that's important to me. It doesn't have to be for everybody. I also love to storytell too. And I really don't have a differentiation of my personal and professional life. It's kind of just one. I stopped that balance game for myself a while ago, and I just kind of harmonized the two, because I'm just going to be me. And so that's kind of how, to get more on the question of why I probably appear and in real life am actively pretty involved in a lot of activities and say yes to a lot of things to show up. And I try to attend, I get so many webinar invites, like a free webinar, and I'll just want to listen to what's going on in the market, what's the demand. And I would say especially right now as we're looking at DEI, obviously I have diversity in my title, as we're looking at what wind to our back and what are headwinds in front of us. So I am listening. I would say I'm a relentless learner. I'm a consumer of articles, intelligence. Like I want to do the research and I take time to do the research. But I didn't start in tech. I've only been in tech 8 years at CDW. And so my journey became, I worked at a Fortune 100 retailer for a long time. You can see it on LinkedIn for 22 years. And then I thought, okay, I'm gonna work in non-for-profit. Okay, so that was not for me. But, and that's okay, you can fail forward, right? And what I wanted to do, I became a mom to Caitlin, my daughter with Down syndrome. And so I thought, okay, I want to just now help the disability community so much. So I kind of left everything over here, chasing EBITDA, right? Chasing a huge comp package, right? Doing all that. I'm like, I am now gonna serve marginalized communities, right? And did that at non-for-profit. Was not for me, as we've established. But I admire anyone who works in non-for-profit because it is humbling and you are a jack of all trades and it is incredibly hard work. And so when I found myself wanting to, okay, what do I want to do? I knew I wanted to stay committed to helping marginalized communities because when you help those in the margins, you help all. Mm-hmm. There is no negotiating that, right? And so inclusion is never about seclusion. And so when I was able to create this role of business diversity and making sure that I'm bringing diverse suppliers and women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, disability-owned, and small business ecosystem into CDW's supply chain to scale in the channel and to meet end-user needs, right? That became fulfilling for me. And so all of that to tell you, I had to get involved to learn very quickly, right? How to work in tech, how to be a woman in tech, to learn the journey, and I'm still learning. But I would caution you this, where my lesson has been the last few years, is that your yes really means nothing. Your yes means nothing if you say no to nothing. So I've had to pause more of what is the best value of my time, because I'm raising, right, 2 teenagers who would rather me be at home all day than flying around. And so to have that boundary for yourself too, so you can have good harmony.
I think when I look at a lot of the CRN events that I've been to, I've met a lot of the speakers, right? Being part of the advisory board, I've got to meet Iona Holloway, Amy Moran, right? A lot of the speakers that have been on stage, and I gotten to know them. Like I actually spoke to Iona the other day. I spoke to Amy. It's kind of fun. That's that building your network and branching out. So use the community you're here, right? Use the next few days that you're here to meet not only each other and the people from CRN, but any of the speakers that catch your attention. Amy spoke after me, and she wrote the 13 things that strong women don't do, and I pretty much do all 13. So I'm not sure how I got up here in the first place.
I'm not believing that.
But she came up after Carolyn and I in the West, and we still speak to each other. And that's the part of building your network. I would have never met someone like Amy or Iona if I hadn't been to one of the events, right? And I think that's part of it, right? Kind of really reaching out, right? And I think that's such an important part of building your brand and building your network and being just who you are. And I think one of the things that I've seen as part of the advisory board in the last year or so is the changeover in the CRN events, right? They're more focused towards people, humility, personality, right? People that are on stage, you should be able to go talk to afterwards if you have a question. I got slower than I was before, but I do call people back. We do have lots of coaching sessions with each other, right? Again, I got a lot slower, so if you sent me a message, I'm sorry. Being able to do that, I mean, that's been the funnest part, I think, for me, is that, again, that give back, that pay it forward, that the building your brand, your network, that reliability that you have for each other. I'm running out of questions here. So let's talk about some kind of wins in the network. And again, I want to talk a little bit about, for us, right? When you first start a business, right, you're technically poor. You have no money, you have no credit, no anything, right? So I think the first customer that we ever got was, we did Newark Airport Terminal 1. So for those that flew into Terminal 1, the network infrastructure is us behind that. And it was awesome. He was like, yay, first $5 million win. And Jason's like, great. And we're like, yeah, but I don't have any credit or any money. So how am I going to buy anything, right? And this is where the network comes in, right? I text Mark McClure, Brian Lazaro. I was like, hey guys, can you give me a $5 million credit line with a question mark? I thought I was staring at my phone waiting for Mark McClure to answer me. So he had to go check with Jay Schneider, who was very good about it, and Mark's like, sure. But that was TD SYNNEX, right, taking a leap of faith on someone that I've known Brian and Mark for a really long time, right? So it was that network, that reliability that they had with me that let them do that. Not many people would have kind of rode that wave with you because that's a lot of money. So let's talk a little bit about any kind of wins or situations that you've had in terms of your network. I mean, that's one of mine. Obviously, we're a known entity, Kristen, you and I, to each other, and it's being able to use that to kind of help out. Obviously, Jeannie, we're a focus partner for you. So let's kind of help the people watching as well on how they can, what wins have we had in the channel that we would think about? That's one of mine, is the fact that I had no money.
That's a good one. I think it's important to talk about money and money challenges and credit. So that's a good story to share, that you can start from, a zero sum, make a connection, show value, right? And now, look at how successful you are. I think that's important. Sometimes we just get so quick to what was the outcome, and we're in such this immediacy, we don't look back of like, how did we get there?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah, that is the most important, Marianne, and I'm happy to have played a part of that. TD SYNNEX playing a part of that, so thank you for sharing. One of the things that I think is very interesting when we think about the channel right now and using your network to build, I'm actually going to talk about diversity for a hot minute, because that's been something that I think has been really cool to watch our solution provider base partner together to fill a need when it comes to that diversity spend for an end customer. I've seen multiple solution providers that I never would have maybe even put in the same room that come together and say, how can I help fill a need for this end customer? And I think that's a perfect way to show of how people are building, using their network, partnering together to, yes, fill an end customer need, is through that diversity function. Jenny?
I'm happy to share a recent win, and it's very similar to your, what you described, Marianne, where we were working with an end user, and Fortinet had done all of the technical validation. We worked with the partner with the end user probably 8 months, and our team really did all the heavy lifting when it came to the proof of concept and proving out that we were the right technology for them. And they needed to roll out to 750 stores around the country. And unfortunately, admittedly, they were in a very tough financial situation at the time. And it was the partner, the solution provider, who came to the table and found the financial resources to enable that customer to do the transaction. And that never would have happened without that partner that had resources and had a network to go out and reach out to make sure that the customer's needs was ultimately met. So we are very dependent on our partners and our distributors, because at the end of the day, we can have the best firewall out there, the best widget, right? But we're not selling direct to that end user. And there's so many additional services and so much more value that needs to come to the table from our network and our channel to make that all happen.
So let's talk about what we think is coming up in terms of changes in the channel, right? What we foresee happening. For me, changes in the channel would be the business partners, right? The community, right? Supporting each other more and more, right? I think we're getting that relationship is getting stronger across the entire channel, right? So I guess building your network and keeping your brand solid right across the channel is really important. Is there anything else that we think we may foresee happening, in the future with the channel that anyone needs to be aware of?
I can start with this one. I would say automation is really key right now, especially for distribution. We have to figure out ways that we can be more efficient for our partner base every single day. Technology is very fast-paced. It's changing rapidly, and I think I said this earlier, how do we create more time for all of our resources to continue to bring those technology solutions to fit a need at the end customer level in such a dynamic and fast-paced industry? And automation is key to that equation. So from a distributor standpoint, we are absolutely heavily investing in making sure your interactions with TD SYNNEX are easier and more efficient, less manual, less errors obviously come with less manual touch. But also it's beyond just the transaction, it's also platforms, investing in easier platforms. How do we figure out how to monetize Marketplace? I mean, Marketplace is obviously a huge topic of conversation in our industry right now, and how do we help bring automation and solutions to our customer base to monetize that? And then of course AI. I mean, everybody's talking about AI. It's the buzzword right now, but again, how do we monetize that? How do we make sure that our customers can actually make money on the concept of AI? And so all of that really comes through automation, because we have to reduce the touch from our sellers, from finance, from purchasing, all of those people to be able to continue to evolve in this industry.
I think what I'll add, and I want to be mindful of time, so feel free just to
Go ahead.
Do a signal or say something. What I'm seeing, there's significant changes for the space that I have accountability for and responsibility for. And when we think about having these diverse spend goals and aspirational goals, when you're reading perhaps headlines of, DEI is going away, there's been a retreat of DEI, right? Those are all real headlines. I'm reading and seeing them too, and having to react and make sure that I'm staying ahead. What I would say though is that it's really a rebrand, a refocus, and let's repurpose what we actually want to solve here, right? And so when I think about, for public sector, the demand for local supply chain partners isn't going to go away, right? New York City is a great example. They want, the city of New York for OTI wants the most New York City certified MWB partners in the utilization in the supply chain as possible, right? I see it in Chicago, and you can name other cities, but you can't really negotiate the success of economic empowerment and economic mobility when you include local small businesses into procurement, right? And so public sector has figured that out, and so that's not perhaps going away. A rebrand, a refocus on what targets look like and what is in parameters, perhaps yes. But I would also tell you that what's happening in this space, in this discipline of DEI, is not a crisis. This is an opportunity, right? This is an opportunity to get your game plan together, think how do you want to create success in the channel, and how are we following the customer, right? And so keep the customer at the center of it all, and they are being asked to do more with less. They are being asked to have the latest and greatest, and so show up for them and be a great listener, right? And we'll win together in the channel that way. But this is not a crisis. This is an opportunity.
As we wind down, I'll close with a couple of things. Last question for the panel. My favorite one. What would you tell your younger self today? It's my favorite one. I can't help it. I'll go first if you guys want to. So what I would say is be confident in yourself and your abilities. I still struggle with that today, but I think you have to be confident in who you are and what you bring to the table. I'm not sure that ever goes away, but that's what I would tell my younger self.
I would tell myself to, there's a few things. You said one, and I want to follow the rules so badly. But, I would tell myself to be more courageous, to fill the voids. There's a lot of voids out there, and to find them and fill them, right? I would also tell myself, to be courageous, and it's okay to stand in the gap. You don't have to pick a side every time. Stand in the gap, take a pause.
I would absolutely tell my younger self that it's just okay to make a mistake. I remember when I first started at TD SYNNEX, I was so concerned about making a mistake or a misstep or the wrong decision that I think that it really messed up with my confidence level early on. And when I look back on that time, the mistakes or the missteps that at least I thought they were missteps at that time, are probably my greatest lessons. It's also how I got better, how I built a stronger confidence level, how I became a better leader, and overall a better person. So I think I would definitely tell my younger self to just calm down. It's okay to make a mistake. Everybody does it, and just as long as you learn from that mistake and you grow from that mistake.
Yeah. I think I would tell my younger self not to stress out and worry so much about what you're going to be when you grow up, right? When you graduate high school or the day you graduate college, you do not have to have it all figured out. And even at different stops in your career, you don't have to have it all figured out. One of my favorite things is asking people what their story is. Tell me what your journey is. How did you get to where you are now? And no, most people don't have it all figured out. And I think it's just about being open to change. I was considering a career move at one point in my career, and someone that I admire very much said, do what you fear. And I was like, wow, Joe, do what you fear. That, you know what, I'm gonna think about that. And I made a career move and went to do something with a company that was probably the best decision I ever made. So, you know, it's okay to not have your whole path figured out right now. Just be open to change, be open to new ideas. When people present you with things, keep an open mind and consider it, and it might just be the best decision you made. So,
I love that. Do what you fear. Can I add one more thing?
You can.
Probably no, but yes, I'm going to. Some of my things that I look back, and I guess I would call them regrets, is like when I looked the other way. And so my advice would be to not look the other way. It can be something minor. There's somebody in the team meeting who constantly gets interrupted. I know for sure I didn't always say something, right? It can be even bigger than that, but I would just tell my younger self to not look the other way.
All right, so as we wind down, a couple of quick things. You guys will see Everfree here today. Again, someone that we met in May when I was in Sierra and West. We have partnered with Everfree. Their mission is to combat human trafficking. We've rolled that into our selling process come January. So you'll see them here around Sierra. And again, that's building your network, right? I know CRN has kind of got the community out there. You'll see signups, and I'll be working the table tomorrow morning. For those in the room that are solutions providers, we are running the CRN solution provider community. Again, different ways you can get involved, right? Small little things you can do to meet people and just kind of put yourself out there a little bit. We're going to take Q&A if anyone's got it, but I do appreciate anybody who's come this year, who's given their time. I will need 12 speakers for 2025. If anyone wants to be a speaker or knows someone that would be a great speaker, that'd be awesome for me. I do appreciate everyone online who's watching. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I always tell people it's funny how Women in Tech has grown from Jason and my mother watching to a room full of people and about 200 people online. So thank you. It means a lot to me. This is my give back moment, right? And my ability to help others. And if anyone said one thing that helped you, that's really what this is for. Thank you very much for coming. If anyone has any questions, we'll take Q&A. If not, we will see you during Women in the Channel. Thank you.
Thanks, Marianne.
Thank you.
We'll take Q&A, but a round of applause. Marianne is nominated for Role Model of the Year tomorrow.
Okay. Against Kristen. Against you.
No, and you're a Triple Crown CRN, Triple Crown CRN recognition.
I am your competitor. Thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Anyone have any questions? We'll take Q&A if you have it.
Yeah.
If you don't, you guys are free to take pictures, photos, hang around. We have Q&A over here.
Hi. Hi.
My name is Alexandria Barrow. I manage partner experience at IBM. I do have a question. What is it that separates the good from those who rise to become the best? Is it talent, mindset, discipline, or something else entirely?
Ooh, good one.
I would love to answer or start at least. So I love this question because my dad was a high school football coach for forever. And he would always tell me, he instilled in me that you are never probably going to be the smartest person in the room, but you can always be the hardest working person in the room. And I've just lived by that because I know I'm not the smartest person in the room. So I think for me, I think discipline, work ethic, confidence level also helps. But I don't know that talent would be one of the first that I would go to, because I think that talent is subjective, for sure, and I don't think your work ethic is. So that would be my take on that.
Well, and I think if you think about it, if you only had talent and none of the other things, I can promise you're not going to succeed, right?
Yeah.
The others are much more important.
For me, I'm going to say two things. The rise to the top is really never alone. It's not only as you're going up, who are you bringing with you, right? That's what success, talent, discipline, work ethic is. So as you're climbing, who are you lifting? Marianne's a great example of that, right? Lifting so many women and putting this platform on, over the year. Congratulations on great success. For me, it's three things. It's none of those you listed, but I do love all of those, of course. For me, I want to be accountable, aware, and accessible. So I want to be accountable to what I'm responsible for, accountable to my standards, my ethics. I want to be accessible to my team and customers and my family. And I want to be aware. I want to be hyper aware of what's going on, because I just don't have it in me to ever sit on the sidelines.
Any other questions?
Oh, I could also speak.
We're trying to make sure everyone can be heard.
Mike. Well, hello, my name is Diana Hinojosa. I'm the Vice President of Recruitment at a company called Level Up. And I wanted to ask something around confidence. So you mentioned having courage and having the confidence to go after opportunities or your network. So I'm curious, how did you, or what are some of the things you've done to work on your confidence throughout your careers?
Well, that's a good one for me. So I am the most confident, self-conscious person on the planet. I think part of it becomes, and I don't really do a good job at this, it's always stopping and reflect on the good that I've done or the good that I've seen. And I don't take compliments well. That's why every time someone says something, it freaks me out. It's hard when you take compliments, but I think you have to really look at what you've done and who you are as a person, even more so, right? I think I'm honest, I have integrity. There's things that I do that I really do want to give back, and I mean what I say. So I think those are the things that help me build my confidence. It's who I am and the core values that I have in me. That's kind of how I look at it.
I think, not to be overly simple put for me, but I think confidence comes with preparation. I like Tom Brady, that's okay. And I loved what he said one time in a quote. He said, super talented, but he said Saturday night was never a worry because they had practiced in every scenario, in every weather, in every climate. So Saturday night before Sunday was never really a worry. There was no cramming before because they prepared so hard.
Yeah, I love that, because I think that when you're prepared, you probably are, or you at least come across more confident. Another thing that I would say that I've had to really get better at, and I certainly need to still work on it, but I think, and you can kind of tie in the social media use and building your network on that, is there's a little bit of, I hate to use the word brag, so I'll use the word self-promote, but I think that when you have wins personally or professionally, it's really good to socialize those wins. And I think you can tie that into building your network on LinkedIn or any other social media platform. But when you reach a milestone that you've been working really hard at for however long, I think it's important to put your self-promoting hat aside and celebrate that, right? And I think the more and more you celebrate some of those wins, I think that helps build your confidence and maybe don't think about it as self-promote, but more of building your network and building your brand. But I think that that's what's helped me along the ways, is kind of stop thinking of it as bragging, but really think of it more as celebrating an accomplishment and a big win that you've worked hard for.
We have another question?
Yeah, I just wanted to say everything you said on stage with your advice and tips. I was counting on my hands and I'm like, wow, I relate to every single point between not turning away, facing your fears, and going for it. And that I've been in channel about 15 years now. My question's more for Marianne. So last year I call it my Eat, Pray, Love year. So I took a step away from what I was doing traditional channel work, and I was working with 9 cybersecurity startups. And I was working with, I'm now an investor in 2 cybersecurity startups. And I have to say, it is hard to keep going from the beginning because you have to worry about insurance, where the money's coming from, how to pool together talent. So I was doing it firsthand, and I have to commend you because going from 2018 to 2024, where you have 50 people, it's very impressive. My question for you is, at what point did you solidify, this is it, this is happening, I'm taking this to the next level? Because I'm sure there was many points at the beginning where you're like, is this happening? Do I go back to what I was doing? So I'd love to know, at what point were you confident that I'm going forward and this is happening?
Maybe next year? No, I'm kidding. You know, I think it depends. My partner Jason is very particular about being able to reflect back and stop and think. And I think I work in the business so much, right, that I don't get a chance to stop and reflect. And I think it was probably the first time we had a large event. We have a June event every year, and it was the first time we had a large event where a lot of people showed up, and I was able to look around and be like, wow, wait a second, I actually did something here. Hold on. You know, and I think it's that was that moment, so now we're about 3 years ago, right, where it says, okay, well, maybe I did take something from nothing and build something up, right? But I think you're always waiting to feel okay. It's a balancing act. I always tell everybody I'm sitting on a 3-legged stool, and I'm always got one of my legs are always broken, and I'm always trying to plug a hole and make things perfect, right? And I think my biggest hang up is waiting for perfect. My entire staff can tell you that. And that perfect is not a thing. It's a state of mind that's in my head. But I think it was when I finally had that big event where I saw those people show up, and they showed up for us, for something I built, for the people that I work for. And I think that was the first moment that I was able to actually see that. And then when I sat on stage at CRN last year, and I got to tell my story of my journey from beginning to where I was last year with Carol and her, and it was that moment when we got off stage and Amy was a closing speaker after me, and we were in the cocktail reception. There was a line of people ready to talk to, I thought, Amy. So I said to Amy, let me let you go. You know, you're a famous author. I'm going to move so people can ask you questions. Then I realized the line moved with me. And I was like, wait a second. So then I realized they had questions for me, right? And I think that was really a big moment where it's like, well, maybe I do bring some value somewhere to somebody. And it's those little moments that I have to kind of hold on to. So thank you. Any other questions?
Talk about doing what you fear, right?
Yes, I was doing what I feared. This was not my idea, this was his.
Yeah. That's so true. Marianne, literally before every event, will text me, she's like, watch, no one's coming. And then it's like waitlisted. And then there's like a wait list to get into your June event. So I'm glad though you collect those and can reflect on that. Like those moments are what you need to go forward. So keep having those, right? I mean, I just think you gotta chase what makes you smile, right? Just chase it.
Question over here?
I'm going to give you a last question.
Sure.
I'm going to give the last question that I hope is really light. You have a 4-day business trip coming up. It's the night before and you have to pack.
Okay.
What do? Is it the big bag, the little bag?
Oh, it's always a big bag.
This is a serious question.
That is serious.
It's always a big bag, and a lot of times it's multiple bags. I'm not gonna lie. I have a whole bag just for hair care products.
I'm carry-on only.
Really?
That's it. I haven't checked a bag in, years.
Carry on only.
We just had this
We
conversation.
did.
Yeah, we just talked about this. I think we both checked bags, but
These are the only
I've gotten
shoes you'll
much
see
better.
for 4 days.
Much better.
Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Woo!